Welcome back to Ice Fast Sports. I'm Griff.
I'm Matt.
And today we got our first mock draft with trades. We're going to include them. We've been promising it for a little while, and we haven't done a mock in a while, so let's go for it. Start the draft. The Bears are on the clock. I don't think they make this pick at all. I think this goes to Indy. We're going to trade that. Let's see. Trade the lopsided, obviously. This is only a one-round mock, so, I mean, yeah. I'm not going to go by a pick chart or anything.
I'd probably do next year's first, too.
Next year's first, definitely, to get up to one and probably throw in a fourth.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just to juice it up a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's a solid trade. I'm going to force it. It's likely to be accepted anyways. And that puts Indy on the clock. And ultimately, I think they get their guy. I think they're big fans of Bryce Young. And I think they just land Bryce Young here. So this can be the first overall pick.
I like that pick because you get your head coach in Steichen, however you pronounce the Eagles' former offensive coordinator, and with a new regime like that, typically want to go different quarterback for a different coach unless you have a well-established quarterback. But 100%. I really like that pick right there for Indy. I think they'll give up the picks that are needed to trade up.
I agree. You get your franchise guy. You can't pick and plug and play these old aging quarterbacks at the end of their careers anymore.
Right. And I think quarterback goes again because Houston they have Davis Mills. He looked okay. He doesn't really have anybody around him.
Yeah.
But I think they want somebody that, is a secure franchise quarterback they can build around.
Get to Nico Ryan's his guy.
Yeah, right. And it's a coin flip for me between Levis and Stroud. But I think Stroud, what he did at Ohio State, stands out a lot more than Levis. Levis, you're banking on, he's going to make that transition. Obviously the same with Stroud too, but Stroud, you've seen it a little more in college. So I'm going to take Stroud here for Houston.
All right, that brings me to Arizona here. I don't really know which way to go here. I think you have to get either an edge rusher or somebody on the interior. Like, these two guys are sitting here. I think Will Anderson Jr. just makes the most sense off the edge for them. Get yourself a star edge rusher, and it's just hard to pass up on arguably the best player in the draft there.
Yeah, and I think with Jalen Carter still on the board, it was either him or Will Anderson for Chicago.
Yep.
Because the first two picks are going to be quarterbacks. It's going to be one of those two going to Arizona. I think Chicago's in the perfect position to get that other defensive stud here in Jalen Carter. I think he plugs up that middle, and they have a lot of cap room. They can get a pass rusher or two in free agency, but Jalen Carter, I think they set themselves up here for him in the draft.
Yeah, here at Seattle, I'm kind of debating to go with an edge rusher. But at the same time, I feel like this is where a team that really likes Will Levis is going to trade up. And honestly, he just feels like a Panther to me.
Yeah.
So I see the Panthers trading up into the top 5 to grab Levis here.
I'm with you.
I'm going to make that happen. Panthers.
And you probably don't need to give much more than a second for this.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe
pick 39.
Maybe 39 and 132.
Maybe a later 147 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Maybe they throw in a future 5.
Yeah.
I like that. We'll go there. I'm going to put...
you're going to give up the picks for a franchise quarterback.
You're going to have to.
Yeah, you got Frank Reich there.
Yep.
He's pretty. He's kind of a quarterback whisperer, they say. So.
Yep. So Will Levis is the pick there for me. Brings us to the Lions.
And the Lions, you addressed your edge rush need last year with Aiden Hutchinson, but I think their secondary definitely needs help. Their defense struggled a lot this past season. Their offense is fine. It was one of the best offenses in the league down the stretch. But I think there's one clear player here on the board. Let me just look at who else real quick. Because you could get an edge rusher to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, but I think instead they go to improve the secondary. And Devin Witherspoon, I don't believe he allowed a single touchdown.
He did not.
A
0-star recruit. Didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school. Illinois took the chance, and he's probably going to be a top 10 pick. So
I think he goes right here to Detroit at 6.
Yep.
Especially because Okuda's contract's expiring soon. I think that's a good pick for them.
Yeah. I really don't know what to do here with the Raiders. Derek Carr is going to be cut. I think you have to build up the O-line though. Mm-hmm. And I've been sticking to it. Paris Johnson all along has been my tackle number 1, and I'm going to take him here.
I like that pick.
I'm not going to overthink it. I think you have to build up that line for whoever's there at quarterback. I don't think they're a team that drafts a quarterback now. I think they go get another veteran, maybe somebody like a Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that.
Yeah, and now you get the Falcons here, and they're another interesting team because you have Desmond Ridder, who didn't really impress too much. Mariota wants out, so your quarterback's kind of a interesting situation there. But then again, who did Ridder really have for weapons aside from Tyler Algier in the backfield? Kyle Pitts was injured. Drake London looked solid, but he was still a rookie. He can develop a little bit. They do need another receiver to pair with Drake London, but I don't think that's going to be the pick here. Ooh. I think they're going to focus a little more on defense.
Okay, go with an edge rusher.
Yeah, I think that at this pick, if you're the 8th pick, you got to go edge rusher. I'm in love with Miles Murphy out of Clemson.
Yep.
I think he goes 8 here to the Falcons.
I agree. I like that a lot. That brings us to the Seahawks as we traded back from number 5 in that trade with the Panthers. Come down here to number 9. I think they've got a strong, young offensive line. They could use help on the interior. I just don't think you take a guard this early. I definitely think they have to go address the defensive side of the ball, get an edge rusher in there. And I think no better than Tyree Wilson at this pick. That's going to be my play.
I like it. And now Philly's interesting because you're losing a lot of players to free agency. It's going to be really, really interesting, like I said, to see who they re-sign. That's going to determine who they draft. But, it's the first round. They really value their defensive linemen. You're losing both Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox to 1-year deals. You drafted Jordan Davis in the first last year, but I think you got to go defensive line again, and take Brian Breesy, somebody that can play on the edge if you need him to, but you slot him in the interior next to Jordan Davis, and that's a pretty scary defensive line.
I'm not going to overthink this pick at all. Tennessee needs a receiver really bad.
Yep.
Quentin Johnston's my wide receiver 1. I don't think they pass on him. He's got height, weight, speed. He's just kind of what you look for in a wide receiver, and I think he makes perfect sense at this pick, so I'm going to go Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, and Houston is interesting because they can improve all over the all over the field.
Who did we give them already? C.J. Stroud, right?
They drafted C.J. Stroud, which is a precursor for this pick, because I think that you got to get him a weapon. Brandon Cooks wants a trade.
Yep.
You got to get him a weapon. You got Mechie coming back, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, who do you have? Nico Collins? No. You're going to pair C.J. Stroud with his former college teammate Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I like it a lot. That brings me to the Jets. I'm going to do something. I think it's...
Oh, right there.
Oh, wow. They know.
They know.
Okay, we're doing it. As a Jet fan, this is kind of like what I want.
I think this is his destined landing spot, honestly.
Yeah. I think we give up 13 here. You kind of have to.
I think you have to give probably at least 2 ones.
I disagree. I think Packers fans are going to be very disappointed with the return. I see them wanting Sauce or wanting Quinnen Williams. That's not going to happen. You could argue 2 ones. And I see us trading the 2023 first round, number 13, obviously, and next year's one. And then you probably have to give up more, but I don't think it's a whole lot more. I'm thinking maybe a 4th rounder next year. And maybe a player, but I just don't feel like going through all the players right now. What do you think? Would you?
I think a 2025 third you should throw in there just to make it a little more.
Along with the 4th?
Along with the 4th. Because, it's Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good point.
If he goes to another team, he's not going there for 1 year.
Right.
He's going there for probably the next 3-4. He probably has the next 3-4 years in the tank. He's shown no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think it's gonna cost an arm and a leg. I feel like this is reasonable. Let us know what you think in the comments, but I feel like this is a reasonable trade. 2 1s, a future 3 and a future 4. I'm gonna force it through. It will not be accepted on here, but I'm forcing this through. So the Jets now have Rodgers. That puts the Packers on the clock. You could go a bunch of different ways. I feel like they're another team that lands another veteran quarterback if they do trade Rodgers. I don't think drafting a guy like Anthony Richardson makes sense for this team.
I think Jordan Love is their guy. I think they're going to roll with him.
I could see that. I still think you still have to get another wide receiver for him. Christian Watson's looking really good. Romeo Doubs showed some flashes, but Jordan Addison is a really, really good receiver. And I think in that offense, he's a good fit. So we're going to go with Addison there. They do pick in a couple picks again. So
yeah, now we have the Patriots up. And the Patriots are an interesting team because they never do what you expect them to do.
Right. They'll probably take a D3 like offensive.
Snapper.
Yeah.
But there's one guy on the board still that fits one of their needs. You got Isaiah Wynn, who's going to become a free agent. Trent Brown, I believe, is also a free agent. I think they'll re-sign him though, but tackle is kind of a weakness already. I think Peter Skoronski being on the board still is an absolute steal. I think he's a franchise tackle, and the Patriots are going to identify that and take him right here.
I think he's got T-Rex arms and he won't be good. That's my take.
Really?
I'm just not a fan. I do think the value for that pick, I completely agree with you. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'm just not a fan of Skoronski. Not saying it's a bad pick at all. Like he may end up being really good. Just like what I've seen, I think there's some concerns. We got the Packers at 15 again. Just took Jordan Addison. You have to. They had no help at edge.
Yeah, I mean Rashawn Gary is coming off a really, really bad injury, and Preston Smith is probably going to be a cap casualty.
Yep. I don't know. I kind of want to make like a controversial pick, and it's kind of going against what we were just saying, people coming off injuries, but Nolan Smith he's got so much talent. Also coming off an injury, but the talent's there. And I think it's tough to pass on a guy like that. So I'm going to go Nolan Smith.
It's a really interesting pick because I'm a big Lucas Van Ness fan.
Okay.
I think he just can produce the sacks. We got Washington up now.
Yeah.
Washington's interesting because the quarterback's a mess. But I do think before you address quarterback, you got to fix up that offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Your tackles are okay, but you could definitely...
They need help interior.
The interior definitely needs help. So let's go to interior offensive line. I think this is a no-brainer of a pick. Osiris Torrance is a beast out of Florida.
Really good.
He's going to go to Washington.
Yeah. By far the best interior lineman. This brings us back to another lineman. I think you have to go tackle here if you're the Steelers, and I think if you are the Steelers, your mouth is watering here with Broderick Jones on the board. Just an absolute stud. He's a big body that you could plug in there, give protection to Kenny Pickett. Broderick Jones has got to be the guy.
That's a great pick. And now we have the Lions back up on the board.
Yeah.
And they went corner.
Oh, yeah.
They went Witherspoon, right? Number 6. But you still got to, build up that defense. I think that defensive line definitely needs some help. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if any of these guys are really worth taking. What are your thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie.
You can wait.
Yeah, I haven't been catching up on a lot of films, so I don't even know who that Kalijah guy is.
Yeah, I think you probably got to take an edge rusher here.
I agree. Get somebody on the opposite side.
Yeah, compliment Aiden Hutchinson. You have the second pick, or you can also trade. But who would jump up? I don't think anybody really. This is the Vikings straight up. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna go edge. I'm gonna pull the trigger. Lucas Van Ness to Detroit.
I like it. You know what? Like, I do like the Vikings trading up at some point to grab a corner. Their pass defense was terrible, and like Christian Gonzalez is right there. Joey Porter Jr. You've got almost every big name corner left.
Yeah, but does Tampa Bay really pass up the opportunity to draft a quarterback?
That is true. I mean, you don't have anyone on the roster.
You have Kyle Trask, who
You bring in
reportedly like, but
so if you could bring in a veteran and develop a guy like Anthony Richardson, I think it's a scary future.
right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, yeah, you got to go Richardson.
But to tickle your fancy, I do have Seattle trading back with Minnesota.
I like that.
I think you're right. I think they're going to jump up for a corner.
Yeah, I think you have to jump up for Christian Gonzalez there.
Yeah, so I think that you got to probably give up pick probably next year, a fourth next year, and maybe 177 as well, just to hop up three spots. The trade's accepted, so we're gonna go and we're gonna draft Christian Gonzalez, easy pick here.
Yep.
For Minnesota.
Yeah, I completely agree. Chargers up on the clock. Keenan Allen's probably getting cut.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense for them. So you're gonna have to find a replacement. I don't think Palmer's like. I think he's I think he's a good wide receiver 3.
You have Mike Williams, but you need somebody that's gonna take that role.
I am a big fan of Zay Flowers, out of Boston College. I also like Downs out of North Carolina.
I love Downs.
I like Nathaniel Dell a ton. He could fly, but he's very undersized, and I don't think he fits what they need. I'm going to switch it up a bit. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers here.
I like that pick. I agree 100% because Keenan Allen is definitely on the move.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna need a receiver.
Yeah,
so,
big time.
And the free agent market for receivers is really, really not good.
Yeah.
Another team that needs a receiver, though, is Baltimore. But do they go here? Do they go receiver here? This is so perplexing because they always go best available. And they could definitely use some secondary help. Mm-hmm. You got Marlon Humphrey, right?
Yeah.
But
Marcus Peters,
I think, is a free agent.
I believe so.
Man, Joey Porter sitting right here. I think that'd be a great pick for Baltimore. But again, I mean, you have Josh Downs, Nathaniel Dell.
I think there's better value down the board to get a receiver later on.
I agree. I think you can't pass up on Joey Porter.
I agree.
So I'm going Joey Porter there.
All right, now we got the Seahawks back up. They're kind of in a weird spot. Like, again, interior of the O-line is just weak in this class. Mm-hmm. But there is a guy down here that I feel like does fill a need. You got Andrew Voorhees, who could, I believe he played a little bit of center, but definitely a solid guard. And I think that's just kind of a guy that you plug into that young O-line and keep developing it for whoever's back there, whether it's Geno Smith again, which it probably will be. Just got to keep building up that line to protect him. And I think Andrew Voorhees is a good pick here.
I'm a big fan of, was it John Michael Schmitz? Yeah. But Seattle always makes surprise picks. They always take guys a little early, and I wouldn't be surprised or shocked at all with that pick.
Yeah.
Now we got Jacksonville up, and the thing with Jacksonville is they're a pretty put together team. They could use some help on defense. Mm-hmm. Brian Branch is here, but I feel like safeties always fall to the second. I don't like that pick for them. Who's there for cornerback? Tyreek Stevenson, Forbes. Again, I don't think the value is quite there. What are your thoughts on Deonte Banks?
Hold on. Before, did Ringo go back to school?
No, I think he's just fallen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I still love Keely Ringo.
I love him too, but I think he's gonna fall a little bit. I've seen him go like in the second. But that would be a great pick. Man, this is tough. I don't know, because you have Trayvon Walker you took last year. Josh Allen.
I'm a big fan of Branch because he could play slot corner too.
That's true. Yeah, you know what? It's the Jags. We'll take Brian Branch.
I think Branch, for the value, is just too hard to pass on. Brings us to the Giants here. I think you either have to address linebacker or receiver. Receiver is something like you said, the free agency class is like
It's really bad.
And like Josh Downs is there, and I feel like he's a good fit for the Giants. I feel like he could step in and play that number one role.
Him and Wandale, maybe a trade for somebody too.
Yeah, I like Josh Downs here. I still think they're in the market for either Keenan Allen or DeAndre Hopkins.
Or what? Ooh, you could trade this first round pick for Hopkins.
I don't think they get a first round pick for Hopkins at this point.
Okay, that's true.
Like, So like I'm not gonna make a trade here. I'm gonna go with Josh Downs, get a young receiver in there.
Okay.
And I just feel like he could play a solid role and develop under a veteran that they bring in.
Yeah. Now we have Dallas. The thing with Dallas is they have receiver listed as a need, but I don't think that it's a need at all.
I disagree.
I think defensive line is, but I think you're gonna look again. Maybe I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
Siaki Ika.
Yeah, Siaki Ika. I could see him going here, but I think you look at edge, pair it with Demarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, and Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. He's
kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, he's not always on the edge.
Yeah.
Man, Andre Carter's good, but I love B.J. Ojolari.
I do too.
I think B.J. Ojolari, you got it.
I think he's severely underrated.
Yeah, I'm going B.J. Ojolari there.
All right, that brings us to the Bills. It's kind of a luxury pick.
100%.
Sure, you could use some more help on the O-line. Like I said, though, like maybe John Michael Schmitz is a play here, but outside of that, like I'm not in love with the interior guys. Don't think you really need tackle. I mean,
he's there, but you got James Cook you drafted last year.
Yeah, Cook's looked pretty good. I mean, like, yeah, maybe you do have to go interior and go John Michael Schmitz, a guy that he's got guard flexibility.
Or Weipler. Weipler's pretty solid too.
I haven't watched enough of him to where I could confidently make that pick. John Michael Schmitz, however, I do think he's the best available on the interior here. So let's do it.
That's a good pick. I like that. Then we got Cincinnati. This is an easy pick for me. They need offensive line help bad.
Yeah.
And Anton Harrison's there.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Boom.
It brings us to the Saints. They need help all around, I think.
Yeah. Well, it depends. What do they do at quarterback? It seems like they're the front runners for Carr because they're the first to meet with him.
They do seem like the front runner for Carr, but at the same time, like I don't like Tanner McKee or Hendon Hooker enough to take him in the first round.
No. Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, so I mean, like maybe they work out a trade for some, but like then again, Carr's gonna get cut. So like trading for Carr right now in this, it doesn't make sense. Let's see. I guess like interior defensive line is definitely something they could use.
Yeah.
Big run stuffer. And Kalijah Kancey, I mean, I haven't really heard of him, so I can't really make that pick. I am a big fan of Jervin Dexter, though. And I watched him play a lot at Florida because, like, SEC's shown all over CBS, so, like, I got to see him play a lot. You know what? I'm gonna reach for him and make the pick.
I could see it. I could see that. That's a Saints pick for sure.
Yeah.
Now we got my Eagles again. We went Breesy at pick 10. I think you gotta go cornerback here though. I'm going to go Ringo. I really like Ringo. I think he's gonna fall a little bit. But I could still see him going in the first round. Him or Cam Smith, but no, I like Ringo better. You need somebody on the opposite of Slay. Bradbury's probably walking. Still got Maddox, but you need another corner there.
And then we got the Chiefs at pick 31. Man,
luxury pick for sure.
100% a luxury pick. And like Pacheco's probably your running back of the future. Like he's looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like these two running backs are just so good, but like teams don't value running back.
Yeah.
And I feel like they fall to day 2. I mean, if they don't go super early, like I could see a team reaching on Bijan. But
it's such a running back rich draft too.
I agree. Man, I don't know what to do here. Like
I
maybe get another edge rusher.
I would say safety. They have Justin Reed, who's pretty solid.
And like I'm not in love with any of these safeties.
I like Jordan Battle.
And I do like Antonio Johnson too. I'm not in love with any of them to take.
I mean, their offensive line has looked unreal. It's young.
Getting another young corner could help too.
It could.
I like Jalen Jones and I like Cam Smith a lot. Garrett Williams is also a guy coming off. I believe he had a torn ACL. If it weren't for that, he'd probably be going really early. Emmanuel Forbes, a solid corner. Like this corner class is really deep. Man, I really don't know what to take here.
Well, what's best available? What are they saying is best available?
Kalijah Cansey.
They could probably use edge. I mean, Frank Clark is on an expensive deal.
Yeah.
You got Karlaftis last year. Get somebody to pair with him.
If I were to take an edge, I like Andre Carter here.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to go with the corner. I think getting a young corner in there to develop, a guy like Cam Smith, is going to be my pick.
Nice.
And that's going to take us to the end of our draft. I don't want to pay for your site. Zoom out a little bit here, and we got our board.
Yeah, I think this came out really good.
I agree.
I think we address a lot of team needs, and I think there's, it's not super predictable. You got a couple of reaches in there. I really like this draft board.
I like it a lot. If you told me Keely Ringo and Cam Smith were going 30 and 31 about 2 months ago, I'd tell you were insane. But that's just the way the corners go. You got guys that rise and fall.
Right.
And we'll know a lot more after the combine and pro days and such. But yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up this draft. We'll be doing a lot more. A lot of off-season content coming very soon.
Yep.
So be sure
to
to
subscribe.
Yep. Be sure to like, subscribe. Check out our socials in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next one. As always,
stay cool.